Chinese Political Constraints and the One Road, One Belt Strategy by John Betsill. We're going to discuss how to examine the political economy of the Belt and Road Strategy. We'll start off with the research question, the significance of that research, my central theme or claim, and then the evidence. The evidence will all be compiled through the lens of Dreesen's 4 variables to study political economy that we discussed at the beginning of the semester. Those are, of course, who are the political actors, what are the political interests, what are the political mechanisms at work, and what are the political constraints. So the research question, what are we trying to find out here? What is the most important factor in the One Belt, One Road strategy employed by Xi Jinping and the People's Republic of China? What's the ultimate goal that's trying to be reached here? It's very important. Why is this significant? It is significant to know whether or not China is capable of this continued economic growth that has legitimized the Communist Party's control over the PRC for the past 2 decades. What I argue in my paper is that some that argue that Xi Jinping's predecessor, President Hu, was a failure because all he did was grow the economy, and that the lingering problems of corruption or currency issues or any of the problems that are facing China on a day-to-day that were not fixed by the economy growth in itself lingered. So it's significant to know if that economic growth can be continued, because it's what's propped up the CCP's control since the Tiananmen problems in the late 1980s, as well as the fall of the Soviet Union as the other anchor of communism on the continent, on the Asian side. It's significant to know what factors have played into the formulation and implementation of the OBOR. Again, it's important to know why this happened and what happened, and not just know the outcomes. So that's why this is significant. Central claim. By taking an in-depth look at the macro-political economy of China through the lens of Dreesen's 4 variables, the political actors, political interests, political mechanisms, and political constraints surrounding the OBOR strategy, it is clear the structural and institutional constraints in the People's Republic of China at the time of Xi Jinping's rise to power aimed to have continuing economic growth and societal changes that it would enable, above all else, be the most significant outcomes sought in the policy formation, implementation, successes, or failures of the OBOR. Using Dreesen's 4 variables of analysis, the political actors, the interests, the mechanisms, and constraints. Again, main political actor at the macro level that you're looking at is the leader of not only the Chinese Communist Party, but the de facto head of state for the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping. He was brought in to replace the "don't rock the boat" mentality that his predecessor, President Hu, had. It was seen by Xi Jinping that just growing the economy was good enough. Don't rock that boat, right? Let's keep ourselves in power by making sure the economy grows. And that's what President Hu did. But what Xi Jinping here is trying to do is make sure that they keep that power that legitimizes the CCP. State-owned enterprises. Here's some of these incredibly powerful, large, wealthy companies that are owned by the state. You have Sinopec, China Construction Bank, National Petroleum. These are just a few of these massive companies that the state is employing on the One Belt, One Road policy. If you're going to be building over the land routes and maritime sea routes through Central Asia, the Middle East, Africa, into the Balkans and Eastern Europe, you need mega companies to be able to do this. And these mega companies being controlled by the state allows the state to directly affect the outcome of what they're looking to have happen on a case-by-case basis. So if you need funding in a certain region, one of these companies, Maybe if they were privatized, they would act in a different way, but being state-owned allows the state to make sure that the interest of the state is what's being looked after here. It's just a look at the graph here, 2014. This profits of the 12 largest SOEs on the Global 500 from China. You have Sinopec, China National Petroleum, State Grid, Industrial Commercial Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Ag Bank of China, the China State Construction Engineering, Bank of China, China Mobilecom, SAIC Motor, China Railway, and China National Offshore Oil. Again, if you can just take a look at these company names and think about what the one belt, one road policy is that we've talked about. You've got State Grid on there, an absolutely massive company. Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Industrial and commercial, everything that will entail, all of the funding and lending that needs to be done for this kind of project. That's a company that's in 2014, you're looking at profits of over 40 billion. Now I'm sure that may have even doubled. China Construction Bank, the construction that's going to go into effect here. You're going to be building, along with China Rail Engineering, rail, roads, ports, warehouses. You name it. A project of this size is going to need just an incredible, massive infrastructure overhaul, not only in parts of China, but obviously in their neighboring trading partner countries. So very important stakeholders. The performance of their companies are going to be integral to the results of the one road, one belt policy, or one belt, one road, belt and road to be more simple. Obviously, the political interests here, we just have a general picture of the Great Hall in China, where you can see the levels of government at work here. This would involve your not only political actors and with political interests, but this is the selectorate as well, right? Because you have the multiple levels from the People's National Congress to the Standing Committee, to the Politburo, up to Xi Jinping himself, and then below that the provincial levels. So you have each level having interests that need to be seen through with the OBOR, and their positions will all be threatened if there's a failure, but they obviously stand to gain as well. If this continues the economic growth, then down the line, maybe somebody in a mid-level of government sees the peak of their career, but then they also think about their children, or their if they have nationalist intentions, just the overall health of the country and what will be available in the future. So multiple political interests here. Everybody kind of toeing the line, as we know, with Xi Jinping getting quite a bit of his supporters put on to the Politburo. So it's looking like he's got a pretty firm grasp on power, and we'll see going forward if that's able to help in the implementation of the OBOR. So the conclusion that I've come to here, when you take a look at especially this map of where all these trade routes are looking to go, and just first of all, the amount of instability that we see this crossing through. Pakistan going through Iran, over through Turkey. We're on the coast of Africa that is known right now more for pirates probably than anything else, and just unstable country. Sri Lanka just got over a civil war itself. There's so many issues that I don't know if the economic growth is even possible. And as some Chinese have began to discuss, kind of how here in the U.S. we use the term freedom on everything. We throw it and attach it to anything to legitimize it as American. One Belt, One Road has become this buzzword as well in China, where it's not even 100% clear what is connected to One Belt, One Road anymore. It's become so large, it's almost as if it can't fail or succeed. It has indebted China to the rest of the world and vice versa. So you could definitely say it has succeeded in the fact that it hasn't submarined the economy at this point. But again, with the size of it, where we're at, what they really need at the CCP head is for the continued economic growth to legitimize the hold over the country. And if they somehow were to lose that through the One Belt, One Road, it would obviously be seen as a huge failure. But if this keeps afloat the constant economic growth, maybe even not at the rates that Hugh had it at 8%, 9%, or even into double digits, but even if you can keep it 5%, 6% through some of these projects associated with One Belt, One Road, I think that's the ultimate goal that they're looking for out of this project. It's a catch-all for infrastructure building and new trade routes. That's the report, and I appreciate it. Thank you.